Have you ever noticed that not living up to a particular pattern creates a new pattern? This is something that came up recently with this notion that when we say, like, oh, I always do this and I'm committed to changing this around, this creates a new pattern, like we're going to the other extreme, and therefore we're stuck in that pattern. So today we're covering just shining light on that to begin with, and then how is it that we can really do what is right for us, take control of our lives, not going from one extreme to the next, but really being here and allowing our true selves to shine through. Okay, so today's an interesting one because this is something that I've just had an aha moment after my meditation, as I recently ended a relationship, and I came to this realization that for a really long time, I've been this person who was emotionally unavailable and avoidant, and I would be the first person to just be out the door and say, you know what, this isn't working out. And this wasn't even done consciously, but I have noticed that as I start doing my inner work, the last relationships in my life have been the really opposite. It was about being there and holding space and learning to not be attached. So there were definitely my lessons. However, in this concept of, leaving too early, like too soon, or staying too long, I went from one extreme to the next. And this was really cool to realize, because how often do we have those patterns that, okay, I've always been this and now I'm going to make a point to not do that. Okay. And then we go to the other extreme, just like it happened for me. So bringing this to awareness, where is it that you see this huge contrast? And sometimes it seems like growth, right? Because for me, for example, I'm like, oh wow, like I would run away right now, or I would just start ghosting this person, or step away or withdraw or just shut down. And I'm not doing that. Like, I'm doing so really well, right? And you feel good about it, but not realizing that actually it's like, wait a second, I'm also not honoring my needs, and I'm also staying too long, and I'm being there for that person without asking, what is it that I really want? So this was something that I've noticed in that dynamic, and I had clients who also go from one extreme to the next. For example, when you first tune into allowing yourself, because that's a big one for many people, really asking yourself, what is it that I want, and allowing yourself to have that. And then we go to the other extreme of, okay, I'm just gonna, like, I've deprived myself so long of this, and now I'm just gonna give that inner child anything it wants. I'm gonna spoil it like crazy. There's no amount of money that's too much. There's no, like, amount of time that's too much. It's like, here, you can have whatever you want. Because it's going from one extreme to that next. So how do we get out of that? Because it's not that one is better or worse. And actually, it is important to experience both of these extremes, because, like the pendulum, right? It swings from one side to the next. And how can we just allow it to slow down, to find that neutrality, to find that balance? So the one key question that I want you to ask yourself, first of all, just breathing in into your body, right? Because your mind can totally go into analyzing and overthinking. Wait, have I been doing this? What are my patterns? And just drop that. It's so unnecessary, because that's how we become inner workaholics, and it just goes on forever. Don't do that. Just coming into the body. Or do that if you want to. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just saying, if you want to go to that peace of mind, to that place of peace of mind, I'm guessing if you're watching this kind of content, that's where you want to get to. That's not the way to go. This is just something to bring to awareness and letting it go. So just taking a deep breath into the body, being here now. The body is the anchor into the present moment. It's here, it's real. And this feeling of connection, that is something that will guide you. How does this feel in my body? How does this feel in my body right now? And now there's a distinction between, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, this is where my growth is, and I don't want to do it. Like when something exciting. And I know you know that feeling. We've all had that. And you can see the feedback when it was like, oh, I want to speak my truth, and this doesn't feel good right now, but then I did it anyway. And then you feel that liberation. You're like, okay, I know that kind of feeling, that was the fear is excitement at the breath. That was fear's frozen fun. That wasn't the kind of fear of, okay, I'm in danger right now. It wasn't danger. It was just that fear of, I'm about to reach my expansion. I'm about to grow. I'm about to evolve. You know the difference. And if you don't, then really allowing yourself. Some of you may go, I'm not really sure which one it is. I'm not sure where it's that fear of I shouldn't act or fear of this is the next step. Try it with little things. Try it with food. Try it with like, oh, what do I want for lunch today? And like, this is what this one feels like. This is what this one feels like. Tuning into your body. What does this feel like right now? Because your body knows. Your body always knows. But I do want to give you a word of warning. There's this balance here as well. There's balance between this is what I feel right now. This is what excites me, what brings me joy. And that has to go, it's kind of like the feminine, right? Like going with the flow of life. It has to go hand in hand with the masculine of, I tuned into this place of what I want and what I want to create. And this is my goal. This is my target. And I'm still committed to that. Because like I said, sometimes like, ooh, this action step doesn't feel really good. Right, but that action step is what we committed to. This is where we want to get to. It may feel uncomfortable, but we want to go for that. Right? So similarly, going back to my previous example, when it's, okay, let's say I want to create this kind of relationship, I want to grow, I want to evolve. It's not about, oh, right now, I don't like what my partner is saying, and this doesn't feel good. So from that place, I ask myself, does this feel good in my body, like in the moment? Or does it feel good in the long run? Is this what I'm committed to? Because sometimes, like, I don't want to be in this conversation. I don't want to feel what I'm feeling right now. But is this right for me long term? Is this right for me in the bigger picture? And this is where we're coming into that place of long term versus short term gratification, right? Because for me, sometimes, like the short term gratification, I just want to run. Like, I don't want to be in this conversation. I don't want to be experiencing all of this. But in the long run, I'm committed to growth. I'm committed to my spiritual practice. Like, those are my non-negotiables. And I know that that is what's going to bring me there. So can I stay even when I want to leave? Right? Similarly, something may feel really good, but is this what we're committed to in the long run? Like, for example, again, I want to, just because I started with relationships, sometimes there might be somebody that you're so attracted to and you really want to act on that. But let's say you're married and you're going to ask, well, is this long-term or short-term gratification? Am I moving on those impulses, or like, this is really good right now, but in the long run, that's not what I want, right? Or a workout example comes up, like you have these body goals, you have the weight goals, this is what you want. And you also just want to eat junk sometimes, or you have these emotional things that are getting you to that place. And you're like, is this what I'm committed to in the long run? Is this what I'm going for? And that's why I'm addressing that balance of the masculine decisiveness and sense of direction, that feminine flow, and what feels good to me right now. Okay? So just bring this to awareness, not getting caught up in our patterns of one extreme or the other, and coming into that neutrality. And as you know, if you watch my previous content, this is something that I do with clients on a daily basis. So if this is something that you want further support with, if you want to dive deep in this and release those things that are just holding you back, those conscious and subconscious blocks, because 95% of our lives are driven by the unconscious. So if you want to bring this to awareness, if you want to let this go and live the best version of your life, then I'm here for you. Reach out to me and we can see how we can work together. And on this note, I am wishing you a very powerful day.